Kay napay ni enter. Okay, before we start our lesson, let us first have a prayer. So, in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you feeling this afternoon? All right. So, are you excited to learn more as a continuation to our lesson last week? Okay. So, welcome to our second virtual class in Earth and Life Science. So, kindly please turn off your microphones. You can turn it on if you want to say something or if your name is being called. So, we have two sections this afternoon. We have Salvia and section Hibiscus. But before we start, I want to ask some of you to share what has been discussed last week. So ako ang tawgon tong mga naapod last week to share what they have learned on the previous lesson. Let's have um, Jesame Kadayday to give us a recap on what has been previously discussed. Jesame Kadayday. As I said a while ago, ang dili mo tingog meaning gaon ra ang Google Meet but wala na minaw. Alright, let's have Clarissa Cadusale. Alright, the four subsystems of the Earth. What are those subsystems, Clarissa? And the biosphere. So there are four, right? The biosphere, okay, lithosphere, hydrosphere, as well as the atmosphere. And you all know, as previously discussed, that all of these subsystems of the Earth are working together. All right. Another, let's have Asibo Christine. Christine Asibo. What else have we discussed? Hmm? Saan mo na siya? Nalimot? Sa paylain? Sa pay mong mahinumduman? Okay, so mo tong mga rocks, Christine? What are the three types of rocks, if you can still remember? What are those? It starts with a letter I, letter M, and letter S. What? Okay, let's have King Hezekiah. Okay, we have the igneous, sedimentary, and then we also have the metamorphic rocks. What else? Aside from the four subsystems of the earth and the types of rocks, what else were being discussed? Okay, let's have Regine Abordo. Okay, we also have had discussed the different layers of the atmosphere. What are those layers, Regine, if you can still remember? Okay, very good. So, naa jud mo'y nakatuna no, wala pa jud mo nalimot bisag last week na to. Aside from that, what can you add, CJ? Okay, very good. We have also discussed about the different internal structures of the earth. So the first layer is the crust, okay, followed by the mantle, then we have the outer core, and then we also have the inner core. Okay, very good. So this afternoon is basically just a continuation of our lesson last week. But before we start, let us first have a short activity. What is the title of the activity, CG? Okay, the title of the activity is Guess Me. So, inyo siyang tag-anon. Kay Guess Me, good siya. Right? Okay. What can you see in the screen or on the screen? Okay, you can see the map of the Earth. And then, what you are going to do is, I'm going to give you 1 minute, and then you are going to identify the continents based on the map flashed on the screen. So, kada color, lain-lain na siya nga continent. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to determine what continents are being shown in each color. And then after which, atuan na siyang ansiran. I will call your name and then you give me the name of the continent. Right? Timer starts now. All right, time is up. So I guess you are already done. So for number one, I want Christine Irish to mutawag ra ko og name ha. Anyway, I know you can answer this one because it's easy. Okay, for number one, I want Christine Irish to answer. For number two, I want Emilu to answer. Number three, I want Aimee Bon to answer this one. Number four, Abrasado Shiny. Number five, let's have Abordo Regine May. And number six, let's have Suerte Abigail. And then for number seven, let's have Kadivida Heidi. All right. Let's have number one, the one continent that is colored red. Okay, North America. That is correct. Number two. Okay, Europe. Correct. Number three. Okay, that is also correct. Number four. Okay, very good. That is South America. Um, Number five. Okay, very good. Number five is Africa. Number six. Okay, number six is Australia. And number seven, Heidi, what is number seven? Heidi, Kadivida? Okay, let's have CG. Okay, very good. Number seven is Antarctica. Okay, so you got the questions correctly. So how about the others? Did you also get the correct answers? Especially katong wala na tawag? Okay, very good. So I know that when you were still in junior high school that you have can we turn off your microphones first? Okay. When you were still in junior high school, I know that you have already a subject in the earth and life science or in the earth science. And then naman po ni siyang continents ato ang araling panlipunan. So based on your earth science class when you were still in junior high school, do you think that the land masses that you see on the screen, or do you think that the continents has always looked like this even millions of years ago? So kaning mga continents nga naa nato karon inani ba gud gihapon siya o itsura sa unang panahon, millions of years ago? Is it the same as now or is it the same at the present? Okay, who can give an answer? CG. Yeah, CG. Is it still the same before? What changes do you think has happened? Buildings? In terms of how the continents look like, does it look like this as before? Hmm? Dahan na siyang gapuyo. Okay, let's have another idea from Christine Irish. Okay, very good. No, you have already an idea about that. Kay na-discuss na guna to na siya katong junior high school pa ta. So, the continents before doesn't look like now. Doesn't look like the continents as what it looks like in the present, no? So we will know more about that as we tackle our next topic for this afternoon. So our topic for this afternoon, kindly read it, El Santo June. What is our topic this afternoon in Santo June? Wala, natulog na si Santo June. How about Raymond? Yes, kindly read our topic. Raymond. Okay, so our topic this afternoon is about the movement of plates lead to formation of folds and folds. So these are the objectives for this afternoon's lesson. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to define folds and fold, trace how the movement of plates lead to the formation of folds and fold, and infer the importance of folds and faults to the formation of new land masses. Have you already heard the terms plates, folds, and fault? Nakadungog na mo ana nga mga words? Have you already heard that one? Wala pa mo kadungog ana naman na sa junior high school nga science? Okay, this was already naana ni siya sa kuan, junior high school. Okay. So, this time, okay, if wala pa mo kadungog, then this afternoon is your chance to learn new things about plates, about folds, and also about the folds. So, I want you to note the following questions. There are 4 guide questions here on the screen. I want you to note them down on your notebook or pwede ninyong screenshot using your mobile phone. And then I am going to show you a video. That video, you are going to use that one to answer the 4 guide questions flashed on the screen. So number 1, what is the video all about? Number 2, how did the continents look like on Earth 200 million years ago? Number 3, how did the continents look like on Earth at the present? And number 4, why do you think the continents are moving? So you are going to base your answer on what you already know, and you can already also base it from the video that I am going to show you. And then after which, tagaan ta mo og time to answer the questions. Right? So ako na i-show ang video. Kani nga video, wala rin siya sounds. Pure din siya nga video. Okay, kindly observe and look closely. Kindly please turn off your microphones. Alright, do you want me to play it again or okay na to? Okay. So this time, you now answer the four questions and I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Alright, time is up. So I want um, Justin Lopez to answer question number 1. What is the video all about? Yes. Okay, very good. So basically, the video is all about the continents of our planet Earth that are moving and changing its position. Or, in simple terms, it shows how the continents split from, according to Justin, from a supercontinent to what it is today, where there are 7 continents already. Did you have the correct answers? Katong sa uban? Did you get the same answer? Okay, very good. Number 2. Number 2, how did the continents look like on Earth 200 million years ago? Let's have from section Salvia, James Kaliwa. Okay, very good. It was not distributed, or the continents or the land masses of our planet 200 million years ago were once joined, 'di ba? Or incorporated together. So it was a super continent. Or unsa may lain natong term anang sa una nga supercontinent? Unsa may tawag nato ana, James? It was still whole. Unsa may term gitawag nato anang supercontinent before? Christian. Kabugnason. Okay, very good. It was called a Pangea or a supercontinent. So as you can see there on the screen, before the continents were incorporated or they were one. Kita ninyo diha, no? North America, South America, Africa, Antarctica, Australia, India, Eurasia, they were all one big landmass. Okay, that we call it Pangaea. Pangaea's existence was first proposed in 1912 by German meteorologist Alfred Wegener as part of his theory of continental drift. So apil ni sa theory ni Alfred Wegener na continental drift theory. Unsa man ang pasabot og drift, meaning that the continents are moving away from each other. Hey, nipalayo sila sa usag-usa. Pangaea is derived from the Greek word Pangaea, meaning all the earth. Okay. Let's have number 3, again from section Salvia. Let's have Jane Rose Yunting. How did the continents look like on Earth at the present? Jane Rose. That's Jane Rose. Alright, let's have another one. Let's have Melrose. Melrose Elnas. Okay, that is correct. What else? How does it look like at the present? Is it still the same as before? Okay, very good. Because, okay. Okay, very good. So before, as I said a while ago, the continents were incorporated together 200 millions of years ago. It was a supercontinent. But at the present, the continents have already split up. Muna na siya nga nanatay 7 continents of the world. No, dili na siya pareha sa una nga usa siya kadako kaayo nga landmass. But now they have already split. That is why we have 7 continents. And for the fourth question, okay, no, nakita ninyo diyan, no? Before, nagtapot sila. And then now, nag-split na sila. Okay. Pero kung inyo hang makita diri sa map, kaning sa globe, kaning after no, kay mura siya og puzzle. Nga kung imo siyang itapot og balik, ang iyahang edges kay mo match. Nakita ninyo? It is like a puzzle. Nga kung inyo siyang ibalik, mutapot siya ang iyahang mga edges. So that is according to the continental drift theory by Alfred Wegener. Alright, let's have number 4. Atong paansiron si Flora May. Why do you think the continents are moving? Nganong dili na siya pareha sa una nga supercontinent? Let's have Silva Flora May. Okay, how about... Okay, let's have King. Okay, let's have King. Because of the tectonic plates. What happened to the tectonic plates? Naunsa day ang tectonic plates nga ni move man ang mga continents? Why is it moving? Because of the earthquake. Okay. Let's have CG. Okay, you have there an idea. But why are they moving? Who can share another answer? Let's have Emilu. Okay, you have there an idea. But why did the plates move? Ngano siyang nigimok? Okay, ato sang pa-continuon si Emilu. Of course, the earth releases heat. No, it has something to do with what is inside the earth. And Emilo is right. It has something to do with heat coming from inside the earth. Okay, si King ko no. Okay, more na idea si King. Sige, let's have King. Okay, so you all have an idea no, pero wala kayo nato nakuan. Wala kayo nato na igo ang question, ang answer sa question. Okay, let's have Shana. Okay, Shana. Okay, because of the sea floor. But why did the sea floor spread? Ngano siya ni spread? Ngano siya ni drift or volcanic eruption? Sige, ato siyang, okay. Sakto pud siya, no? It has something to do with the heat, the molten rock that is inside the earth. Alright, sige, atong lang tawon nga nung ni-move ang mga continents away from each other. Okay. Di ba nakita ninyo 200 millions of years ago, it was a supercontinent. But now, hinay-hinay na siya after pila ka years, hinay-hinay na siya glagyo. Kung makita niyo diri, kaning sa screen, kaning Europe ug Asia, usa na siya sa una. Okay? Gatapot na siya, hantod ni separate na ang Europe ug ang Asia. And then, as of today, as again, as what I said a while ago, we already have 7 continents as compared to before nga usara siya kabuok dako a continent. So, nga naman siyang ni-move, it has something to do with the Earth's interior or unsalay naa sa sulod sa Earth. Okay. As we all know that the Earth has 3 layers. We have the crust, which is the outer layer. Okay, kaning ato ang gitumban karon, muna siya, part na siya sa crust. Okay? There are 2 types of crust. If you can still remember, what are the 2 types of crust? We have the continental crust, and then we also have the oceanic crust. Okay? Kaning continental crust, kaning crust nga naa sa ato ang continents, muna siya continental crust. Okay? Kanang wala na submerge sa water. That is a continental crust. Whereas kaning oceanic crust, katong crust nga naa sa ilalom sa tubig or naa sa ilalom sa ocean. And then we also have the mantle, which is the second layer. And then we have the core. Okay, the core is divided into two. We have the outer core, and then we also have the inner core. And we all know that the core of our planet is very hot. And it is the source of heat of our planet. So, ang ato ang Earth, nana siya'y core nga init kaayo. So, kaning ato ang mantle is made up of rocks. Di ba ang mantle na sa tunga? Okay. Ang mantle is made up of rocks. Unya, kay init man kaayo ang atuan na core, na unsa may mahitabo sa tong mantle, kung init kaayo nga atuang core. Jeff, what will happen to the mantle? Okay, very good, Jeff. What happens to the rocks in the mantle is matunaw siya or it will melt because of the heat coming from the core of our planet. So it will turn into a semi-molten material called magma. Okay, gitawag na siya og magma. Once matunaw ang rocks, it is called a magma. It is a semi-molten material. So, iyahang consistency, liquid na jud siya. Okay? And our crust is solid. Okay? So, kung liquid ang ato ang mantle, unya init siya kaayo, there has to be something that is going on in the mantle that will make the crust or the lithosphere of our planet to move. Diba? So, ato na siyang lantawon. Okay. We have what we call here the plates. The Earth's surface is made up of a series of large plates. Dili plate nga plato ha. Lahi ra ng plate sa science o kanang plate sa ato ang kitchen. Okay? Like pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle. These plates are in constant motion, traveling at a few centimeters per year. So makita niyo diri sa map, kay muna siya map sa ato ang world, but then gidivide ni siya into different plates. Meaning that the crust or the lithosphere of our planet is cracked. Ang atuang crust, dili siya hamis nga puro radyo na siya rocks. But naa siya'y mga crack. Okay, makita man nyo diha. Kanang brown og color. Unsay ngalan ana nga plate? Let's have Micaela Perez. Micaela. Kaning brown og color, unsay ngalan ani nga plate? Okay, very good. Kaning brown nga color, that is North American plate. Kaning green, muna siya Eurasian plate. So, kaning sa ato ang planet, there are 7 major plates. Itawag sila major plates kay sila mo'y pinakadagko. So, 7 na sila kabuok. Ang pinaka-major or dagko. Okay? Kaning brown of color, that is the North American plate. Then, kanang green of color, that is the Eurasian plate. Kanang yellow, Pacific plate, na siya sa Pacific Ocean. Dayong Australian plate. You have it there. Kana akong ipang circulan mo na siya major plates. Then you have the Antarctic plate, kanang blue. And then kanang violet og color. That one is the South American plate. And then another major plate is the African plate. Although naapoy mga gagmayng plate, para aning Philippine plate, gagmay na sila. Kaning na mga gagmay diha na shapes. But then, ang major kaayo, 7 na sila kabuok. So, makita ninyo diha, no? Na ang atuang crust or ang atuang lithosphere is made up of cracks. Na ay crack ang atuang crust. Okay, naana siya'y liki diha. Right? Just like a jigsaw puzzle. Nga kung imuha siyang i-connect, mura jud siya og puzzle. These plates are in constant motion, traveling at a few centimeters per year. So, kani nga mga plates, they are constantly moving. And why are they constantly moving? Because plates float on the molten rock magma. So, muna siya tubag atong pangutana ganiha. Nganong mo-move ang continents or nganong mo-move ang plates? It's because the plates where it is located in the crust or in the lithosphere of our planet is floating. Kaya imagine ninyo ang mantle, makita ninyo ni kanina igatuyok sa screen. Kanang naay convection cell diha, kanang naay gatuyok-tuyok, semi-molten na siya. Okay? Unya, ang plates or ang continents or ang land masses or our crust is kaning green. So since semi-molten maning mantle, mura siya galutaw sa tubig. Okay? Plates float on the molten rock magma. As the core of the earth heats up the materials inside, the molten magma also gets heated up. So muna kung giyong ganiha. Kay init man kayo ang core, ang rock sa mantle mumelt. Mahimo siyang magma. The heat causes convection currents. Diba nasulti na nako ning convection currents before? Convection currents, a movement of rising and sinking caused by heat inside the molten magma. So since the mantle is semi-molten, asa may mas init? Ang ilalom sa mantle, ang lower mantle, or ang upper mantle? Let's have Clarissa. Which is hotter, the lower mantle or the upper mantle? Clarissa Cadosale. Clarissa. All right. Who would like to answer this question? Which is hotter, the upper mantle or the lower mantle? Who would like to answer this one? Which is hotter? Asa may mas init? Lower mantle, upper mantle? So, okay. Okay, very good. Mas init ang lower mantle kay mas duol man siya sa core. 'Di ba? Mas duol siya sa core, so mas init ang lower mantle as compared to the upper mantle. So mas init man ang lower mantle, ang kainit musaka paingon sa ibabaw sa mantle. Okay? Ang may tabo man gud aning convection current, ang init musaka, ang bugnaw sa babaw mo sink. So warm will rise and the cooler molten rock will sink. So muna siyang ang mantle maggimok. Ang molten rock or ang magma ilalom sa mantle is constantly moving because of convection current. Init man ang lower mantle, the warm molten rock will rise and the cool rock will sink. Muna siya gitawag na og convection current. So sige man siya move sa ilalom, so syempre maapektuhan pud ang atuang lithosphere or ang atuang crust. So if it is moving in the mantle, our lithosphere or our crust will also move. So muna siya nahitabo pud sa atuang continents. They are also moving. Gets ninyo? Okay. Let's proceed to the next slide. So it is just like this. Parihara siya ani. So kung unsay nahitabo nga convection current inside the earth is just like this example on the left side. So for example, you are boiling a water and then you are putting wood blocks on top of it, kanang wood blocks nga mo float. Once the water will boil, what will happen to the wood blocks? Heidi. Hmm? O, nalutaw na siya daan. But kung mo boil na, let's have Jerson Lee. What will happen to the wood blocks, Jerson Lee? Okay, the wood blocks will move. Mugimok siya. So, parihara na siya concept sa atuang magma o sa atuang lithosphere sa Earth. Okay? Kung gagimok pud ang magma inside our planet, ang atua pong crust wherein the plates are located, move po na siya. So, parihara siya o concept ani. Okay? Gets inyo? Did you understand it? Okay. So, ang convection, okay, very good. So, ang convection currents, dili ra na siya ingon nga, sa sulod ra na siya sa Earth na hitabo. But, naana na siya in our everyday lives. So, nakita na nato na siya, wa ta kabalo nga convection current din hitabo ani. For example, this one, unsa man na siya? What do you call that one? Okay, that is a hot air balloon. Kanang hot air balloon, convection current ang mechanism na gigamit ana. Wa ta kabalo sa nga convection current di ay. Pero because of convection current, mo na siyang mo-float ang hot air balloon. Unsa may nabantayan ninyo anang hot air balloon? Unsa may naa sa tumoy ani kaninas ilalom sa hot air balloon? Di ba kabantay mo nga nay murag kalayo ana? Di ba? Naa siya kalayo. Okay. What happens there is that naa siya kalayo, what will happen to the air inside the balloon? What will happen to the air inside the balloon? Is it hot or is it cool? O init siya kay naagud siya kalayo sa. So init ang air inside the balloon, and ang surrounding air outside sa balloon, asa may mas init, ang sulod sa balloon or ang gawa sa balloon? Okay, mas init ang sulod sa balloon as compared kaning sa gawa sa balloon. Okay, take note that warm air is less dense and cool air is denser. Kung ato na siyang binisayon, kanang init nga hangin gaan. Ang bugnaw nga hangin bugat. So asa may mo float, ang gaan or ang bugat? Asa may mo float, ang gaan or ang bugat? Ang gaan maoy mo float, mao na siya nga ang hot air balloon mulupad kay mas gaan man ang hangin niya sa sulod as compared to the surrounding air. Okay. So that is also another example of convection current. Nga wala to na realize nga convection current na dahil nang nahitabuan na. Okay, another one. Okay, kani. Convection current gyapon ni siya. No, kanang land breeze ug sea breeze. Have you heard about that? Land breeze and sea breeze. It also works on convection current. So, during daytime, kanina sa left side, ang land, mas dali siyang muinit kaysa sa dagat. So, during daytime, mas init ang land, mas bugnaw ang dagat. Okay. Since mas init man ang land, asa may mas naay init nga hangin? Ang yuta or ang dagat? Asa may mas init og hangin? Okay, ang yuta mooy naay warm air. Ang dagat mo'y naay cool air. So what happens here is that, as I said before, ang init mo float or mo rise, ang bugnaw mo sink or mo adto sa ilalom. So, init man ang hangin sa land, ang mahitabuan ni, ang warm air will rise. Kita man ng red, nipasaka siya paingon sa dagat, and then it cools down, and then the cool air will move towards the land. So kabantay mo inig mo adtumog dagat anang ma-daytime, if moatubang mo sa dagat ang iyang hangin paatubang ninyo. Have you observed that one? Okay. Ato na i-off atong kuan ha, mic katong walay kuan. Katong walay, oo. Right? So, convection, and during nighttime, balipod siya. So, during nighttime, mas daling mubugnaw ang land, dugay pong mo cool down ang sea. So, ang may tabuan na during nighttime, the air in the land is cooler as compared to the air in the sea. So, baliktad siya sa sea breeze. During nighttime, ang warm air is coming from the sea. It will rise. It will move towards the land. And then, the cool air will move towards the sea. So, convection currents, gihapon na siya nga mechanism. Alright. So, the movement of the plates depends on the boundaries between them. These boundaries can be convergent, divergent, or transform boundaries. Have you already heard of these types of boundaries? Kaning divergent, convergent, and transform? Okay. When we say divergent, meaning they diverge or they move away from each other. So magpalayo siya. Okay? Convergent boundaries meaning converge or they move towards each other. Kaning transform boundaries, they slide past each other or they slide in opposite direction. Do you get that? Okay, please recognize anang three types of plate boundaries or margins. The divergent, convergent, and transform. So if you can see here on the map, makita nato ng klase-klase nga plate boundary. Okay? Kaning sa left nga picture, kanang light blue that is divergent plate boundary, kaning dark blue convergent, and then kaning purple that is transform plate boundary. Okay. So using the map, makita nato unsalan nga plate boundary ang nahitabo aning kada plate. Okay. So ato ang lantawon ato ang i-compare ning movement sa plate aning North America ug Eurasia. Lantawan ninyo ng North American plate kana iyang boundary. What type of boundary is that? Is that divergent, convergent, or transform? Kanang North America ug Eurasia. Let's have Mariel Tugdang. Unsa nga plate boundary? North America and Eurasia. Kanang brown o green. Lantawan ng iyahang plate boundary diha. Is it convergent? Hmm? Convergent ba na? Ha? Sure? Ayuhag lantaw ng ma'am. Eurasia o North American plate. Transform? Ayuhag lantaw ng color. Unsa may color? Unsay color sa boundary? Is it blue, dark blue, a light blue, dark blue, or purple? Okay, the color is light blue. So therefore, it is a divergent boundary. So meaning divergent that the plates are moving away or unsa man siya? Unsa iyang movement sa plates? They are moving. Oh, nagbulag sila. Very good, Flora May. They are moving away from each other. So, nagpalayo sila. So, nakita ninyo tong sa Pangea before? Di ba gatapot sila? But since the plates here are divergent, maunang naglagyo sila because the plate is a divergent boundary, meaning they are moving away from each other. Kaning sa South American plate o African plate, lantawan ninyo, kanang naipagka light pink o purple, what type of plate is there? What type of plate? South America. South America and African plate. Ayuhag lang to ng map. Nantawa po niyo ning ikaduha nga map sa right, ug asa ng arrow padulong. What type of plate boundary is happening? Ha? That is a divergent boundary, meaning they are moving away from each other. Di ba katong time sa Pangea ang South America ug ang Africa gatapot? Nakita ninyo to? Di ba gatapot siya? But because the boundary of South America and the African and South Africa and Africa is divergent, muna siyang karon nagbulag na ang mga continents. Okay. Mangita ta diri example of convergent. Okay, try to look at the Pacific plate and then the Australian plate. Unsa siya nga boundary? Pacific plate kanang yellow o kanang Australian plate nga iyang tapad. Is it divergent or convergent or transform? Okay, it is a convergent boundary. Okay, inyong lantawon diri pud o ang arrow, it's moving towards each other. So nagbangga ang mga plates diha nga area. Alright, let's move. There are three types of tectonic forces that can deform rocks. The type of strain or deformation that develops in a rock depends on the tectonic force. So in every plate boundary, naadyo na siya forces that are acting upon them. Dili na sila mo move if there are no forces, no? Di ba naaman na sa tuang junior high school sa physics? You cannot move something without a force being exerted on the object. So it is also the same with the plates na apoy forces, no? We have the compressive forces which squeeze and shorten a body. So for example, kaning ikaduha nga picture on the right side, kaning compressive forces, this type of force occurs on convergent boundary. Kay iyaha mang gi-squeeze or iya mang giduot ang mga plate boundaries. So, compressive forces timan A that occurs on convergent boundaries. And then we have tensional forces, stretch a body and pulls it apart. So, it moves boundaries away from each other. So, kaning tensional forces, this occurs on divergent boundaries. And then for the shearing forces, they push different parts of a body in opposite direction. So shearing forces occurs on what type of plate boundary? Unsa man nga plate boundary? Okay, very good. It occurs on transform boundary. So klase-klase nga boundary, lain-lain po nag-forces. Right? When subjected to stress, rocks can be formed by either breaking, pwede siyang mabuak, or gitawag nato na siya fracture, or bending, or gitawag nato na siya og fold. Okay. So, muna siya. Because of the movement of plates, and because of the movement of the crust, or the lithosphere, We also have what we call the fold and faults. Okay, unsa man ang fold ug fault, ito na siyang i-discuss. Okay, we have here the fold. Deep within the crust, where pressure and temperature are high, rocks are plastic-like. So kung init jud kaayo ang rocks, mura siya og plastic. Okay? Thus, they do not break, dili sila mabuak, but they tend to bend or fold. So dili na sila mabuak, but then they bend or they fold. Mura siyang mabalik. Okay? When rocks in this area are compressed, they become thicker. So folding, okay, as you can see on the screen, occurs when the Earth's crust bends away from a flat surface. So mura siyang mubawog. So natay tulo ka klase nga fold. You have the anticline, syncline, and monocline. So when blocks of rock are bent upwards, mo-bend siya pa yung sa taas, that's called anticline. Kung mo-bend siya paingon sa ilalom, gitawag nato na siya og syncline. So mo ni siya example og anticline and syncline. Paingon sa taas, anticline. So mo ni siya example kanang picture diha sa left. Nakita ninyo ng rock nga mura siya ni paingon sa taas? Oo na siya wave sa paingon pa jud sa taas, no? That is an example of an anticline. And then kanang syncline paingon siya sa ilalom. So example ana is kaning naa diri sa right side. Na makita ninyo, mura gyapon siya wave pero paingon sa ilalom. Right? Can you see the difference between anticline and syncline? Oo. Oo, that is correct. And then this one is an example of a monocline. So a monocline is a slightly bent rock from the parallel undeformed layers. So gitawag nato na siya og monocline. So makita nato diya sa picture na ang monocline, di ba nakita ninyo ang layers, no? Wala siya ni go upwards, wala po siya ni move downwards, pero ni slant ra siya og gamay. Okay, nakita niyo nang mura siya ni hiwi. Okay, that is an example of a monocline. Okay, no? So, ato na siyang timan-an nga kung fold gani, wala siya nabuak. Walay rock na nabuak, but ni bend ra siya or ni fold. Igo ra siya ni bawog. Okay. But when we say fold, okay, a fault is a break in the rock where there is considerable movement on the fracture surface. Okay. So, kaning fault, naa na joy break, naa nay fracture, naa nay naliki. As compared to folding, igo ra siyang ni-bend. Since the pressure and temperature are low at the Earth's surface, rocks tend to break or fracture when subjected to compressional and tensional stresses. This means that the pressure exerted in the blocks of rocks exceeds the rock's internal strength. So kung ang mga rocks, dili na niya kaya ang pressure, mukalitra na siya og snap, mukalitra na siya og break, and a fault will be formed. So there are two types of faults. They can either be dip slip fault or strike slip fault. Kaning dip slip fault nani siya duha ka klase. Okay, kanang normal fault o reverse fault, dip slip fault na silang duha. Okay? So naanay duha ka parts ang normal ang dip slip fault. Nana siya hanging wall and then naa siya footwall. Okay. Nakita niyo ng hanging wall o footwall diya sa picture? No? So duha ka klase ng deep slip fault ha. Deep slip fault involve the vertical movement of the blocks of rock. These movements are described based on the direction of the motion of the hanging wall with respect to the foot wall. Okay. Kanang deep sleep fault can either be a normal or reverse fault as seen on the screen. A normal fault is caused by tensional forces. So pareha ra siyang force nga exert atong plates, no? Pareha siyang force nga exert atong divergent plate. Okay? So kaning sa normal fault, naa siya tensional stress or tensional force. It is characterized by the hanging wall moving downward with respect to the foot wall. So gitawag na siyang normal fault kung ang iyahang hanging wall ni paubos or ni us-us paingon sa ubos with respect to the foot wall. Meaning that the rocks are being pulled away from each other. Okay? Naa siya tensional stress away from each other. Whereas kung ang reverse fault, ang iyang hanging wall is going upwards. Meaning there is compressional stress or compressional force. They are being pushed towards each other. And then the strike slip fault is caused by shear forces or shear stress. So, pareha ra gyapon ni kaning strike slip fault, pareha siyang mechanism sa transform boundaries that the rocks move or slide in opposite directions. Okay. So, I'm going to show you an example of a normal fault here in the picture. Normal fault siya, kay iyahang hanging wall ni us-us siya paingon sa ilalom. Kung makita ninyo diri, the hanging wall is moving downwards. Nakita niyo ng arrow? Okay. Ang hanging wall niya ni move paingon sa ilalom. They are being pulled away from each other. So this is an example of a normal fault. Then this one is an example of a reverse fault. Dili kay siya maklaro no kay murag gagmay man iyang layers pero kung ayuhon niyo tan-aw kaning diri nga part sa tunga makita ninyong ang iyang layers wala siya nagmatch, dili siya magtupong because the hanging wall is moving upwards. Nipasaka ang iyahang hanging wall with respect to the foot wall. So that is an example of a reverse fault. And then this one is an example of a strike slip fault. Dako kay siya sang klaro kaayo, no? So dili ta ng fault kanang klaro jud kay nimo siya. But this one, kani nga fault, usa ni siya sa pinakadako nga fault in the entire world. So this is called the San Andreas Fault in San Francisco, California. Sa iyahang kadako, makita na nimo ang crack, makita na nimo ang liki. So this is an example of a strike slip fault wherein they are moving or sliding in opposite direction. Okay, na-gets na ninyo? Question so far? Alright. So, if you have no questions, then I want you to answer first itong ansira ning mga questions, ha? So, tawag kong name kay basig natulog na mo diha. Okay, let's have question number 1. What are the 3 types of plate boundaries? And what forces act upon these boundaries? Let's have Ege, FJ. Ang dili mo tubag meaning nakatulog. Okay, let's Okay, very good. And what are the forces that act upon these boundaries? FJ. Ano sa to mga forces? Okay, let's have Rivera, Anthony. Okay, very good. For divergent boundary, Anthony, unsa nga force ang what forces are acting upon divergent, Anthony? Hmm? For divergent. Okay, let's have Kadayday. Divergent ka ng tulo. Divergent, convergent, o transform. Okay, very good. Number two, what are the seven major plates? Let's have Mariel Tugdang. Seven major plates. What are the seven major plates, Mariel? Okay, very good, Mariel. Naminaw dyan is Mariel. Okay, African plate, Antarctic. Then third, we have Eurasian. We have Indo-Australian or Australian ba na siya? Then we have North American. We have Pacific. And then the seventh one is the South American plate. Okay, number three, differentiate anticline, syncline, and monocline. Let's have, kaning wala pa na ako natawag, IZ Kabugnason. Okay, very good. Okay, number four. Let's have kaning wala pa si Angie. Differentiate normal fault, reverse fault, and strike slip fault. Angie. Wala si Angie. Okay, differentiate kaning number four. Differentiate normal fault, reverse fault, and strike slip fault. Okay. Okay. Okay, they are actually moving opposite from each other. Okay, very good. And the last will answer is, let's have Raymond Gonzalez. Number five. What are folds and faults? Okay. Okay, very good. Bright mo lagi mo kaayo lagi. Memorize mo dyan ninyo. Okay. So, this time, rag mahuman dyan taan 3:30. Dali ra ni siya. Gamay na like kulang ha. So, I want you to answer this question. Tagaan ta mo 2 minutes to think. Okay? How important are folds and faults, or including na pud anitong plates, in the formation of new land masses? Land masses just like mountains and hills. Unsay importance ani folds, faults, and plates in forming new land masses, just like the mountains and hills. So I am giving you 2 minutes, and then we will have at least 3 or 4 to share their answers. Timer starts now. All right, time is up. Who would like to share their answers? Let's have King. Okay, very good. Who can share another one? Who would like to share their answers? Okay, let's have Heidi. Let's have Heidi. Heidi. Kisapay, nailang answer. Wala na ko nadungog, murag choppy. Okay, say mo tawag kog name ha, then you share your answer. Okay, let's have Marjorie. Marjorie. Wala na si Marjorie? Alright, who else would like to share their answers? Okay, let's have Elixir. Okay. Wala kay na to na answer ang question, no? Kisa pa'y na ay lain. It has something to do with the formation of new land masses, just like the mountains and the hills. Okay. Kisa to? Si? Okay. Kinsa pa? Another. Let's have Christine. Let's have Christine. Oh, okay. Okay, very good. So, the movement of plates in the crust or the lithosphere of our planet Earth that enables the formation of folds and folds are very significant as it enables the formation of various land masses. So because of the movement of plates, because of faults and because of faults, naatay mga new and various land masses nga na form. And it also includes other bodies of water that we see today, such as the mountains, valleys, hills, or even lakes, rivers, or even the oceans were formed due to the movement of plates. So, just like this example, okay, okay, as you can see here, because of the plate boundaries or the movement of plate, it actually forms a mountain ridge. Makita ninyo ni na diri sa screen kaning murag na ay color nga green and orange and yellow all the way from Pakistan to Myanmar. Nakita niyo na siya? Kay kana siyang diha nga area, daghan kaayo na siya mountain ridges. Puro na siya mountain diha nga area. So a ridge or a mountain ridge is a geographical feature consisting of a chain of mountains or hills that form a continuous elevated crest for some distance. So because of the movement of plates in this area, muna siyang daghan kaayong mountains diha nga na form. What type of plate boundary do you think is going on in this area? Is it convergent, divergent, or transform? Transform? Okay, it is a convergent boundary. Kay, di ba convergent, giduot man og maayo ang mga rocks. So once maduot na siya, it can form mountains or even hills. So pareha na siya nahitabuan ning kinabi ni siya plate boundary po diri. Ani nga area from Pakistan to Myanmar. There is a convergent boundary. So muna siyang daghan kaayog mountains diha. Okay, nakita ninyo nga convergent boundary can really form mountains or even hills. And then this one, di ba nakita ninyo diri nga naay mountain sa kilid then sa tunga kuan siya, patag siya nga yuta. Nakita ninyo na? Okay? That is actually a valley. Itawag na siya og valley. So this is an example of a valley in Switzerland. Gitawag ni siya og Lauterbrunnen Valley in Switzerland. So a valley is a long, narrow region of low land between ranges of mountains, hills, or other high areas, often having a river or stream running along the bottom. So, what type of fault or what type of plate boundary is occurring in a valley? Kinakita niyo siya na siya liki sa tunga, no? Doon ay mountain sa kilid. What type of fault do you think? Okay, in terms of plate boundary, this is a divergent boundary, no? Or if this one is caused by a fault, then this could be a normal fault. Kay they are moving away from each other. Munang naa siya'y crack sa tunga. Muna siyang mo-form siya og valley. Oh, this is another example of a valley. Yes. Yes. Okay, sige, sige. Okay, sige. Okay, bye-bye. Alright. Hapit na jud ta mahuman. Gamay na lang ni. So, this is an example of a valley. Diri ni sa Philippines. Ha? Sa Philippines ni siya nga valley. But kani nga valley, dili ni pareha atong sa Switzerland, nga naay mga balay. Kay makita man yun diri sa Switzerland, na mga balay diha. Na mga gapuyo. But kani sa tong Philippines, ang ato ang valley is river. So, di na siya ingon nga valley, puro ra jud yuta ang nasa tunga. Pwede po na siyang mahimong river. Pareha ani nga example. And then another type of valley is a Rift Valley Lake in Africa. So, kung ma-valley, pwede po siya lake, pwede po siya river, or pwede po siya puro ra siya land nga kapuy-an. So, kani siya nga valley, ni form siya og lake. So, na siya dako nga lake nga daghang mga flamingos, so daghang mga animals diri nga nagpuyo. Mga fishes na daghan diri. So a lake is a body of water that is surrounded by land. So this is an example of a Rift Valley Lake. So this is also caused by either a normal fault, or if there is a plate boundary here, then probably this was formed by a diverging boundary. Nga ni-form siya og lake sa tunga. Kay tungod sa crack nga nahitabo at the center. So you see nga dili na ni siya ingon nga boundary ra siya or fault ra siya, but it is so much more. Nakita ninyo? So much more pa jud siya ana, because we cannot see these beautiful mountains, the beautiful rivers, or the beautiful lakes without the movement of rocks in our crust. So nakita ninyo ang importance sa plates, sa folds and faults. Okay, so it is very, very important because it enables for the formation of new land masses such as the hills, the valleys, or even the mountains. And even bodies of water are formed because of the movement of the rocks in our crust. So, do you have questions so far? Do you have questions so far? None? Okay. So, okay, I want you to, since nilapaw naman ta og mga pila ka minutes, I want you to screenshot these questions and then isend lang nako ang answers. Ha? Isend lang sa group chat ang answers. Kindly screenshot this one. Okay, humana screenshot kaya ako i-move sa next page. Okay, then the second one, kana. Screenshot. Then, i-chat ra sa atong group chat. Okay, are you done taking? Okay. Sa page 1. Okay, that one. Okay, do you have questions so far? Okay, if you have no questions,